तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। We'll chant from 5th verse together. Shri Bhagavan bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vetha parantapa ajopi sannavyayatma bhutanamishvaropi san prakrutim swamadhisthaya sambhavamyatma mayaya yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyutthanamdharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna vitaraga bhayakrodhaha manmaya mamupashritaha bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhavamagataha. In entire Bhagavad Gita or in Vedanta, whenever we think about avatara, the main source of our knowledge about Bhagavan's avatara are these verses. So wherever avatara prayojanam has been discussed, wherever the nature of avatara has been discussed, the main source is from these 5 to 6 verses. So much so that in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji in his commentary writes, what is the purpose for which Bhagavan has taken avatara? Why did he teach this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna? And he quotes these verses. The same verses are there in, more of a written format rather than having this verses. Same idea is reflected in his commentary. He says, if Bhagavan did not take avatara, whom would Jiva worship? This prasanga comes in Valmiki Ramayana. Lakshman ji is asking Bhagavan, Bhagavan, you are the Lord of the universe. With your sankalpa only, entire creation is brought about. Why do you have to take a physical form to finish one Ravana? When you have to cross the ocean, what is this prayer and all you are doing for Samudra Devata to come? I am unable to understand what you are doing over here. If you want, you can accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. Why are you doing everything? Then Bhagavan says, I am doing this so that I can become a chitra for Jiva's upasana. Chitra literally means a picture. He says, if I don't take a physical form, what altar will Jiva worship? It will be another part of this creation, or it will be some other Jiva. Because we cannot live without ashraya. If we don't take ashraya in the Lord, that sadhaka or person will take ashraya somewhere else. Some human being, he will make them as God and take ashraya in that person. Later on, Bhagavan is going to discuss even that part. But here he says, so that Jiva can find an altar for worship, the all-pervading Lord, all-powerful Lord, takes avatara as a particular form. That is one way Bhagawan is introducing himself over here. We'll see the summary of all these verses after we complete the remaining 2 verses. In the last session we had seen, Bhagavan says, Janma karma cha me divyam. My birth is divine, my karma is also divine. Divinity of karma is in the way that without actually becoming Dehadhari, he is appearing as though he is Dehadhari. Dehadhari means one who has Deha. So this consciousness is without any attributes, without any kind of forms. No name, no form. That same formless entity is appearing as a particular form with a particular name, without actually becoming that. It is just like saying, if there is a piece of wood over here, piece of wood is kept, and you carve out a nice lion in that piece of wood. Now that lion, has that wood become the lion, or without becoming the lion, the wood is appearing as a lion? Second one, right? The wood has not become the lion. Without actually transforming, it is appearing as something different. He says that is the Divyata. This Chaitanya, without undergoing any modification, is appearing as Dehadhari. Another example, if you want to take, is sun. When the sun rises and sun sets, sun does all the things during the day. In Rudram, there is one part which says, Bhagawan gives darshana to all devotees by doing a Ratha Yatra in the sky. It is bhava for devotee. How he sees the Lord, he says, Bhagawan is giving darshan to everybody so that nobody is left out from Bhagawan's darshan. Now he did everything, sunset also, but you ask the sun, how did you do all this? He will say the same line, Janma karma cha me divyam. Without actually rising, without actually setting, from the standpoint of earth, rotating around, he says, with that conditioning, I did everything. From my own standpoint, there was no sunrise, there was no sunset. There was no action, there was no modification. That is the Divyata of Bhagavan's Janma. Even though he is born, as though, really speaking, he is unborn. About his karma, Arjuna said, Bhagavan, your karma is so much. You have to give results of action to each and every jiva. You will have so much of kartrutva. Doership, once it comes, it has to end in enjoyership. Means you will be pushed into taking further sharira. Bhagavan says, no, my karma is also divine. I accomplish all actions without becoming a doer. Example we had seen of a fire. How many of you attend Kenopanishad class over here? Good, good. Because all these ideas are interlinked. You don't want to repeat the same thing in every class, but they will help each other. So Bhagavan elaborated in that Kenopanishad Bhashya, what is the Divyata of Bhagavan's karma? Divyata of karma is that fire, without actually doing anything, is cooking the food. It is in its own swarupa. It is just content by itself. Whatever comes near it, that is getting the result. So if somebody wants grace of the Lord, Bhagavan says one has to just come closer to him. This is the anubhuti of every saint, every Mahatma, where they said we have gone closer to the Lord and we have received that grace from him. A devotee will feel to a certain extent, but saints have firm conviction in this. Not that devotee does not have. Devotee also has felt that grace, but he is unable to let go of his worry on the strength of that grace. That is the difference. Devotee has felt grace several times, but still he says, I have some chinta of future. Mahatma has felt the grace, but he says, on the strength of that grace, I have become Nischinta. So you read the compositions of any saint, Goswami Tulsidas Ji, Mirabai, Purandar Das Ji. It will come again in Bhajo Govindam class. Yesterday we were discussing. There is one song Purandar Das Ji has written in Kannada. Entadaru chinte bidudu. I went searching several places. He says, nowhere I found anybody who is free from worry. He said, I went to Brahmaji. He was worried about having 4 heads. Very uncomfortable. I don't know how he sleeps. Very peculiar position. Then he went to Yudhishthira. He said Yudhishthira was stressed about dharma. He went to Arjuna. He was strategizing for the war, stressed about the war. Chinta was there. Then he went to Bhima. He was stressed about food getting over. Bhima nige anna salada chinte. He is, worried about. So finally he says, except those who have taken Sharanagati in the Lord, nobody I found who is free from Chinta. The main thing here is, the purpose of Bhagwan's avatar is to appreciate his Saguna Rupa also and Nirguna Rupa also. So over here he is saying, Janma karma cha me divyam. My karma is divine. And somebody who knows this in essence, evam yo vetti tattvataha, tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. That person, having given up this deha, does not take any more birth. Now this Phalashruti also, only the person who has thought about life will appreciate. Because there are sufficient phases in life where we feel, what is the harm in Punarjanma? Because life is not so difficult, or it does not seem so challenging that I really feel I should not come back here again. This Phalashruti also will come only with thinking. That is why Bhagwan Shankaracharya composed Shiva Aparada Kshamapana Stotram, where he says, oh Bhagwan, I thought about so many things in life, but I did not think about the pain of Punarjanma. This was my aparadha, he says, in my previous birth. Please make sure that in this birth I don't repeat it again. So somebody who has analyzed life, who says, I don't want to take any more human form, or any other form for that matter, no sharira dharanam should be there. That person becomes a mumukshu. Another way to look at that statement is tyaktva deham punarjanma. One can say deha abhimanam tyaktva. That is easier, right? We say letting go of deha abhimana. I am the sharira, the one who can let go of this notion. He says that person is liberated. Whenever he thinks of I, whenever he thinks of aham, in that aham, sharira does not come. In that aham, sharira does not come. It is not that he is forcing himself to think that way. He has studied Upanishads and gained conviction, I cannot be this body. I don't call the food as the body. How come the modification of food is called as aham? In food we don't have I notion, right, which is outside. The same food becomes a sharira. It says, how come we have I notion in this sharira? Whatever technique we use, he has come to this conclusion that I cannot be this body. So one who has done that, tyaktva deha abhimanam punarjanma na eti. He doesn't come back again. Okay? And the main teaching here was, whatever is said for Ishvara, the same is true for Jiva. Bhagwan's birth is divine, Bhagwan's karma is divine. The day Jiva understands, my birth is also divine, my janma is also divine, my karma is also divine, that day Jiva is liberated. Somebody asked our Puja Guruji, how do I get conviction that I will not have any future birth? How do I know, after dropping this body, that there is no more future birth for me? Guruji said, what is your conviction about this birth? If you think you are born now, that means you have accepted Jivatva. If I think I am born now, that means I have already identified with this body, already identified with this individual. That is the main thing of this verse. One who can rise out of Jivatva, that person is liberated. Then Arjuna asked, Bhagawan, who are those people? Have people really accomplished this goal? Have they reached you? Or is it something that you are promising and we don't know what the end result is going to be? Next verse is very beautiful. Bhagavan says, V10-11 bhaya krodhaha. The main criteria for achieving this goal is they were able to overcome Raaga, Bhaya and Krodha. And they started with this. Raaga means what? Dependence in joy. Attachment word does not open up much for us. Attachment is used in so many places. In Ramayana class we had seen this. Puja Gurudev has a quote, right? Don't put the keys of your happiness in somebody else's pocket. So whosever pocket we have put our happiness in, towards that thing we are attached. Where this person says, only when a particular experience I get from that particular altar, in the way that I want, then only I am happy. Or in the beginning, this thought comes that if this particular thing happens in this way, everything is good in life. Raaga, the meaning of that word is that which colors. Ranjanat Ragaha. So wherever this person has gone, he is getting colored by some kind of perceptions about life. Either it could be an object, it could be a person. He says, if I get this object, this person, and in a particular way only, the way I want it, he says, then only I am happy, or if that happens, everything is good for me. That dependence in joy is called as Raaga. Everything else is expression of that Raaga. Whatever obstructs this kind of attachment, towards that altar we will have fear or anger. Whatever is obstructing this particular object of Raaga, towards that thing person has anger, krodha. Or if I anticipate that this object will not come to me, or I anticipate this object which I have might go away, that is called as bhaya, fear. And this is a very powerful three-lettered word. It says you remove Raaga from life and see whether bhaya and krodha go away or not. Means whenever we are seeing anger, we should think about this. What am I getting more attached to? It need not always be a person. Attachment is very subtle. It could also be an opinion. Anger is not always because of we are attached to a person and then only somebody is interfering and then we get angry. We can get attached to some opinion also, and that will bring krodha. And fear also we should see. Where is fear rising from? Either to protect something that we have, or anticipating if I don't get what I want. That is the bhaya. See, our Puranas are so beautiful. If we do Hanuman Chalisa, we'll get to see more implied meanings of our Puranas. All of you know Meghnad, right? Meghnad used to send arrows to Bhagwan's army. And Meghnad was known to do Maya in war. Very fierce battle they would fight. Bhagawan asked Hanumanji in Bhagavad Gita after Mahabharata war. He said, Hanumanji, how was the Mahabharata war? Hanumanji said, very boring. He yawned. He said, this is called war. People are, just sending one arrow. You should have seen Ramayana. You send one arrow, that arrow takes different forms. That astra also had a name. One arrow becomes mountain, Parvatastra. On the other hand, you have in Vajrastra, thunderbolt. You remember something? Ramayana serial, both the arrows come. If you have Varunastra, water from one side, you have Agni Astra from another side. So Agni Astra has to douse the Varunastra. But Indrajit, when he used to send an arrow, it would not be like this. Both the contradictory things would come through his arrow only. So when he sends one arrow, from top it rains fire, from down it rains water. So the other person is thoroughly confused, what should I do? That is Maya Yuddha. And that way he would take all the armies under his sway. Now this story we tell to children also. It's very nice. They get very excited how this thing whole happens. The symbolic meaning is, Meghnad represents Raaga. Or it represents desire, Kama. That is more precise. Meghnad represents desire. Once this desire comes, the immediate result of that is Raaga and dwesha. If desire is there, desire will express as attachment towards something or aversion towards something else. When it is Raaga, it is always for something which is very close by. You want to keep it closer and closer. So that water which is coming from down, which is very close to that Yodha, that is Raaga. And another vritti is dwesha. Dwesha is when we want to keep something further and further away. That is showering as that fire from the top. His same astra. One astra appears as two. From down it is water, from top it is fire. And the one who gets hit by this is Lakshmanji, who represents Vairagya. When desire comes and roars, the first thing to get hit is dispassion. And it is said when Meghnad would roar, all devatas would run away. So whatever good thoughts are there, daivi vrittis are there, everything would go away. But how do you cure Lakshmanji now? You have to bring Sanjeevani from Dronachala Parvat. So that Sanjeevani is satsang. Satsangatve nissangatvam. The way to enliven this vairagya is to keep listening to Shastra. With an open mind, keep listening, everything will be accomplished for us. More symbolic meaning we'll see when we see that prasanga. I don't want to go into Hanuman Chalisa right now. The main part was Vita Raga Bhaya Krodhaha. Somebody might say this is very difficult, No matter how hard I try, I cannot be completely free from desire, completely free from fear, completely free from anger. Our rishis, they were very practical. They did not give idealistic solutions. They said, even if we are unable to overcome it fully, 100%, we can at least make sure that we are not controlled by them. If raga comes, if krodha comes, if bhaya comes, they say it's still okay. Are we able to handle this storm or not? If that storm pushes us to act upon it, he says that is where we have lost the battle. It can come with whatever force it wants, but this person has so much of external discipline that he will not allow this storm to translate into vyavaharik action. Later on, Bhagawan is going to say this as a sadhana. He says, one who can handle vega of Raaga, Bhaya, Krodha, that person will reach the goal. If there is no Raaga, no Bhaya, no Krodha, that person is Siddha. He is already a saint. He is already accomplished. But in sadhana phase, it is said being able to handle the storm. That is the main sadhana. Now once he does that for a sufficiently long time, does Shravanam, listens to the scriptures, understands that his nature is divine, his nature is pure consciousness, and Bhagwan's nature is also pure consciousness. Whatever differences are there, it is only in this apparent conditioning world. There is no essential difference between Jiva and Ishvara. In and through, he gets conviction that whatever is appearing in this world is nothing but that same consciousness, and it is at a different degree of reality. One who does this kind of firm abidance, his mind stays only in that truth. That person gets a new name, Manmayaha. You see that next word? Manmayaha means one whose mind is reveling in that consciousness. One who has understood everything in this creation, including my mind, is nothing but consciousness. Just like that lion being carved out of wood. That lion understands every pore of my personality is nothing but the wood. There is no separate entity there called as lion. In the same way, this person understands my mind also is nothing but consciousness. This in Mandukya is called as Amani Bhava. Literally in English means mind becoming no mind. Amani Bhava. But that is not by some kind of repetition. That you keep saying there is no mind, there is no mind, it won't disappear. One has to inquire into the substratum of this mind, which is consciousness. Having seen that, now he cannot unsee that substratum. Once you have known that this lion is nothing but the wood, and your attention has gone on the wood, and now somebody tells you, you see the lion, but don't see the wood. See the lion, don't see the wood. He says, I can't, because I have seen the substratum of it. Even if I want, I cannot unsee it. What is the only way that he can unsee that? If his attention is on some name and form of that lion. If he is having too much of raga towards some thing of that lion, he wants to see what is the family type of that lion. There are different family types, right? Names are there. For dogs we have, lions also might have. If that his attention goes somewhere there, then he cannot see the wood. In the same way, in this world also, attention goes on name and form, one cannot pay attention to substratum. So he has done lot of sadhana through Vita, Raaga, Bhaya, Krodha, done Shravanam, now he is only doing meditation. Now this is open-eyed meditation, not closed. He can see the world, he can observe his thoughts, but he knows that these thoughts are nothing but consciousness. Manmaya mam upashritaha. Whenever any challenge comes in life, it is said we take some solutions immediately. We take refuge in those solutions immediately. Whatever that solution is, in that solution we are nishtha. For example, somebody says, I'm having some difficulties, some challenges in life. He says, chant Hanuman Chalisa 100 times. Chant Hanuman Chalisa 100 times. Jo shatabara pata kar koi, chhuta hi bandi mahasukha hoi. So that person is called as stotra nishtha. That whenever he wants anything in life, he will immediately go to his favorite stotram. And he has gotten the result. Otherwise, people would not go back again and again. They have seen the result. Or somebody could be Japa Nishta. Is any problem in life? Do Japa 100 times, 100 rounds you do. Anything can be changed. Somebody could be Tapo Nishta. Means Upavasa Nishta. Whatever difficulty is there, I'll do Upavasa for certain days. The main point is, whatever is the challenge, they are taking support of something to overcome it. The one who can take support of knowledge, the one who can take support of knowledge to overcome challenges, that person will be called Gyana Nishta. Just like we had Tapo Nishta, Japa Nishta, Upavasa Nishta, Stotra Nishta, whatever challenge comes, it never appears as absolute reality for that person. Because entire Jagat he has understood as mithya, he is able to see every situation as another dream. This is the meaning of the word Mam Upashritaha. And it is something which is not easy to do right away. But if we say we are students of Advaita Vedanta, this is our final destination. Advaita Vedanta is not to study and for solution we go somewhere else. Solution, everything is good. Even sometimes situation also might need it to be changed. He changes it. But he knows in his heart the absolute answer to all dukkham in life will come only from jnanam. By knowing that I am that Shuddha Chaitanya in which there is no dukkham to begin with. All dukkham came from this body or this mind or this world outside. He says that is nothing but an appearance in me. This is the final culmination of that devotee's knowledge. Bahavo Gyana Tapasa. There are several people who have come, Arjuna, all great saints. They are not in different places. Everybody has come here only. Bahavaha, many people are there. All Mahatmas are abiding in this truth. And they have done this Jnana Tapasya. Jnana Tapas means thinking about nature of the truth. That itself is tapasya. Sometimes it takes a lot of effort to convince ourselves and even other people who ask us, what are you doing? Sunday morning you go. That too every week you have to go. You attend so many other study groups, so many other things that you are doing. What is the purpose of doing that whole thing? But on the other hand, if you say, I'm doing some kind of physical austerity. I'm fasting for few days. I'm taking 9 days vratam. You say, that is good. It takes a long time for a sadhaka to appreciate jnanam is also tapasya. One of our brahmachari, when he was at the course, parents come to visit in between. And his father was a spiritual person, but he would make very pertinent observations, about his study and everything. So one day while going, he said, you say that you are studying Vedanta and everything, but looks like you are not doing any tapasya. Looks like you are not doing any tapasya. And he also felt that is true. I'm not doing any tapasya, and their idea of tapasya is very different. You go and stand on one leg, do something outside. They say that is tapasya. What kind of tapasya you are doing? He went and asked, their teacher. He said it takes a long time to appreciate jnanam is tapasya. Systematic study of Shastra, and not only outside or intellectually, struggling inside to align our views with scriptures. Not just studying as an intellectual curiosity, But this sadhaka, at every step, whenever situation comes, he asks this question, can I become vitaraga bhaya krodhaha? Can I become mam upashritaha? When everything is good, he says, can I be manmayaha? That itself becomes jnana tapas. This reflection will open up a lot of things for us. Many times sadhaka can feel, I have studied Vedanta for several years. Several decades I have studied. All Prakarana Granthas I went to, Bhagavad Gita, multiple times, multiple commentaries. Upanishads also I studied, Brahma Sutra I studied. But no significant result is seen, whatever is promised in Shastra. He says that person should go back and see whether they have done jnana tapas or not. Jnana tapas means what? Purifying ourselves through this knowledge, letting go of erroneous notions by putting forth effort. And also, vitaraga bhaya krodhaha, every opportunity letting go of insistence. That somebody who can do can appreciate this phalashruti. Those who are purified by this jnana tapasa, putaha, madbhava magataha. All of them have reached my nature only. So now over here, avatara topic is concluded. Which verse did it start with? 5th verse. Just look at the salient features now. The main ideas of avatara that we discussed. Bhagawan first started with this idea. Who takes avatara? Who takes avatara? He said that pure consciousness alone takes avatara. That aja, avyaya, Shuddha Chaitanya, that alone becomes this avatari Bhagawan. Then he said, when do you take avatara? What is that motivation for you to come down? Bhagawan said, whenever dharma glani happens, good people are unable to be good. And adharma is increasing outside. It is my responsibility to set things right. One Mahatmaji would say, because people would go to him and keep telling him, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should change this, you should change that. His final answer was, in Hindi he would say, he said, भैया ये सृष्टि भगवान की है, वो इसी को चलाते हैं, वो इसी की पुष्टि भी करते हैं, मुझे साधु बनने दीजिए. Means what? He says, this creation belongs to the Lord and He alone is capable of taking care of this creation. Please allow me to be a sadhu. Why? Because Bhagavan says if somebody is a sadhu, to protect them is his responsibility. That is dharma prayojanam. But we saw a few other reasons also why Bhagavan takes avatara. He said, for my devotee's sake, I take avatara. What do you do? What is your main goal when you come here? To protect sadhu purushas. That is my main goal. To give them assurance, being good will make them reach the goal. They should not lose faith in this path. That assurance Bhagavan gives. Paritranaya sadhunam. That is my role. Then we also saw what are the different types of avataras. Purna avatara, Kala avatara, Amsha avatara, Avesha avatara, Nitya avatara, Archa avatara. All different types of avatars are there. But the last part was beautiful. Bhagavan said, culmination of this avatara is in knowledge in that devotee. Bhagavan doesn't like his devotees to be ignorant. He said, understand my janma as divya, my karma as divya. But at the same time, I want that devotee also to understand their janma is divya, their karma is also divya. This is a beautiful segue from devotion to knowledge. He says somebody who has turned his mind towards me, somebody who worships me, that person will not remain ignorant. So this was the culmination of that. Now somebody says, Bhagawan, those who are Vitaraga Bhaya Krodaha, those who are desireless, you give them moksha. But those who have desire, you don't give this moksha to them, they don't come to you. How come this partiality is there with you when you are equanimous, when you are having similar mindset towards every devotee? How come few people you gave moksha and few people you did not? Bhagavan says there is nothing like that. I did not give them because they never sought it. I am not in a hurry to give moksha. I am not impatient to give liberation to people. Whatever that person seeks, that they will get. So one should be very careful what we are seeking from the Lord. That they will get, no doubt. But he says, there are few people who seek me only. They don't seek through me, but they seek me. One category, they seek through me. He said, Bhagawan, I worship you because I need something through you. And I give them, he says. But then there are those who come to me and say, Bhagawan, I have been blessed with sufficient in life. Now I want you alone. Who are those people? Next verse. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushyaah partha sarvashah ye yatha mam prapadyante. With whatever desire in the heart, they approach me. Tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. I bless them with the same bhava. Bhagavan, with what bhava do people come to you? Our rishis are masters in classification. If they classify something, you cannot find fourth category outside of what they have classified as. So they say there are 4 different types of desires one can have. 4 different situations we can be faced with in life. One is when we are in deep distress. Some situations are such, we have no idea how to come out of them, as though we are stuck in that situation. It can come at several levels, either at physical body level, relationship level, any other level it can come. That is the first category of a devotee. And he goes to the Lord with this sincere prayer that, Bhagawan, please bring me out. And at that time, he is so single-pointed in his prayers, in his quest towards the Lord, so single-pointed. He says, Bhagawan, I don't want anything in this world, just bring me out of this difficulty. Difficulty, Bhagavan brought him out. Does that mean his prayers have ended? There are few situations where he is having some desires now. See, when things are very difficult, desires don't bother that person. When that phase goes away, things are calm now. Now suddenly some desire comes. Other people think this is a luxury, but he feels it's a necessity. He goes to the Lord and says, Bhagawan, please make sure that this desire is fulfilled. Not that things will fall apart if I don't get it. But he says it's a necessity for me. Other people, they are thinking it's a luxury, but he says, Bhagawan, this is a necessity. Third person, who having done this sufficiently, he says, Bhagawan, time and again I have felt all these desires I have fulfilled have left me discontent. They have not removed discontentment from my heart. I am seeking something more permanent now. and I've heard in satsang that there is something called as Brahma, there is something called as Atma. I want knowledge of that Atma. Third devotee. Fourth one has already attained it. He says, Bhagawan, I am seeking you just to revel in it. Bhagavan says, with 4 bhavana, whoever comes to me, I reciprocate according to their bhavana. I don't mix people up. If somebody has come with artha bhavana, he doesn't say, here take this luxurious object. Or even he doesn't say, here take Vedanta for you. This is something we have to see in our own life. When there is lot of distress within, Vedanta doesn't appeal to us. Vedanta will start appealing only when mind becomes nischinta. Even subtle topics to think about is so hard when mind is bothered by something. But if that bothering thought is taken away, everything is fine. These 4 devotees, later Bhagavan will say, the first one is called as Artha Bhakta. Artha Bhakta, one who is in deep distress. Somebody like Draupadi. That was the time when she was not thinking about anything but just to save herself. Single-pointedly thinking about Bhagavan. Then somebody becomes Artharthi Bhakta. Means they want some object in life which to them appears to be a necessity. Example for that is Dhruva. Dhruva wanted a position where nobody could shake him from that position. Nobody can remove him from that position, that kind of position he wanted. Now that is not a necessity, It is something that he wants from his side. So that is called as Artharthi Bhakta. Third one is a Jijnasu. Jijnasu is somebody who is seeking knowledge. He is seeing some limitations in worldly ways of living. He is seeking something higher in life. And the fourth one is a Jnani. The one who is already reveling. So Jijnasu Bhakta, you can say Arjuna. Example of Jijnasu Bhakta is Arjuna. And Jnani is Shukdevji Maharaj. One who is reveling in that truth, and he is singing Bhagwan Krishna's glory in Bhagavatam, not out of any desire. He says, I just want to revel in Bhagwan's nature. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. If we have the erroneous idea that everybody should seek moksha, everybody should become spiritual, Bhagavan says that is never going to happen. That itself will be another bondage. Trying to make everybody into a seeker. He says they are on their own journey, let them walk their own path. Prahlad had this desire. When Lord Vishnu came to take Prahlad to Vaikuntha, Prahlad said, how can I go alone? All my people of this kingdom are there. They also have done so much for me. I should take all of them to Vaikuntha. Bhagavan says, okay, go and ask them. Who wants to come with you to Vaikuntha? He goes and asks, every person he asks. Some or the other excuse they give. There is something very urgent in my house today. Right now I cannot come, you go. Like this he goes. With his head down, he comes to Lord Vishnu. Bhagavan says, there is one more, one pig was there. He says, you go and ask. If that pig at least wants to come with you to Vaikuntha. It is that pig says, will this filth be there in Vaikuntha? Because I am so much reveling in it right now. If that is not there in Vaikuntha, why will I leave this and come? Prahlad says, Bhagavan, come, let's go. I don't want to try anything more. He says that is Jiva's condition sometimes. He feels I am spiritual. Everybody else should also be the way that I am. And that becomes the bondage of this sadhaka. In fact, he starts defining himself based on that metric now. How many people have I converted into a spiritual sadhaka? But Bhagawan, what should I do? Because sometimes I feel anxious also. There are so many people whom we really love very dearly. And we say at least they should become spiritual, What will I do? He said, read the second line. Mama Vartman. Did we chant this? We chanted, right? Mama Vartmanu Vartante Manushyav Partha Sarvashah. Very beautiful line we should mark in our life. He says, Arjuna, people are walking in different directions. But be assured, everybody is headed towards me only. Mama Vartma eva anuvartante Manushyaha Partha Sarvashah. Now, how will you understand this? You say, Bhagavan, no, so many people are seeking joy somewhere else. And you are saying that everybody is headed towards you only. He says, that is my master plan. There is only one entity in this world which has Ananda as its Swarupa. And he says, that is me. That Shuddha Chaitanya, that alone is Ananda Swarupa. Everything else, whatever we try to seek Ananda in, very quickly will get disappointed. So he says, disappointment from the world is my way of pulling people towards me. And we should see in our own life, if at all we have graduated further in life, more or less it is because we have seen limitations in our older ways of living. What gave us joy 10 years before? If we have dropped it and we have held on to something higher, that is only because that thing did not give us joy in the way that we were looking for. Means as mind becomes subtler, more purer, older ways of joy will look very dry. And it should, Have you tasted milk flour, milk powder with water? How that milk tastes? And have you tasted Shuddha Desi cow milk? Very, very stark difference between both of it. But somebody who can taste the other milk, they will not find joy in the previous one. So he says, that is my way of bringing people towards me. Whenever they get disappointed by the world, he says they are walking one step closer towards me. How that journey is going to be, Bhagavan says, leave it up to me. Don't worry about how they will come to me, but everybody is walking towards me only. Ananda is only in one place. He says, nowhere else you can find it, and it is my responsibility to bring people towards this. Gurudev used to give a beautiful example for this. Those of you who have been to Siddhivinayak temple in Bombay, on Ganesh Chaturthi day, the line is miles, it will go. Everybody in that line is seeking Lord Ganesha only. But he would say, if you just meet somebody 2 miles away from that temple, he might be standing in front of a pan shop, or that person might be standing in front of a cloth shop, or he might be standing in front of a mall. But he says, really speaking, everybody is going to Lord Ganesha only. They are on that same path. At a given time, it might seem that they are in front of this shop, they are in front of that shop. I mean, they are seeking Ananda somewhere else. Outside it might look that way, but his final destination of everybody is in this Ananda. Mama Vartmanu Vartante Manushyaha Partha Sarvashah. Now there is one line Bhagavan Shankaracharya writes in Bhashya. He says, Nahi ekasya mumukshutvam phalarthitvam va yugapat sambhavati. every line of Bhashya is something you can reflect more and more, churn more and more. He says at one given point, a person cannot seek the world and a person cannot seek moksha together. Means either that person is moksharthi or that person is phalarthi. Nothing wrong, huh? He is not saying that it is something wrong. What he is saying is, if somebody is seeking moksha, at different points in life, they might take the role of artha also. If some difficulty comes, they might fall under the category of artha. Sometimes they might go into artharthi also, or jijnasu, which is totally fine. But a stage should come when they are exclusively seeking Bhagawan. Everything else, krutam krutyam prapaniyam. Whatever had to be done, I have done. Whatever has to be attained, I have attained. That person, he says, will attain the truth. So at a given time, if you ever get doubted, am I phalarthi or am I moksharthi? He says both can't go together. Either it is like saying, I want to be awake also and I want to sleep also. Either you are awake or you are sleeping, it can't be both. All right. More will continue in the next session. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. There are some announcements, so please stay back.